In the last episode of Assist Me, featuring Wesker, we learned of teleportation, mobility, and the trickiest mix-ups, witnessed some hella sweet special effects, found out which assist leads to unblockable damage, then Wesker murdered an innocent lighting guy and laughed afterwards. What other appalling behavior awaits our heroes today in the world of Marvel vs. Capcom 3 The Online Warrior Assist Me featuring Wesker?
Wesker's most important special outside of teleports is the gun. The gun is his basis for all zoning tools related to Wesker. Even the act of doing a simple jump-back gunshot frees up a lot of room for Wesker to start his offense or even begin establishing defense. The best part about the gunshot itself is that if it hits the enemy, it puts them into a large state of hit stun, or even if they block it, the block stun is usually great enough for you to teleport behind without you getting attacked. But you have to make sure that the shot hits the opponent. If it doesn't, then Wesker is not safe and will take damage. But the gun is Wesker's only special that can be used to create a zoning type game. Every other one is only really meant for the middle of combos.
Yeah, outside of teleports and the gun, there isn't many other specials should be using. The counter is pretty good for... Wesker, are you paying attention?
What the hell is that?
Oh, that's just my dog Amy. Wesker, I wouldn't. But he's gonna get bit.
The Cobra Strike should only ever be used in the middle of a combo, as there's a ton of recovery frames for this move. But interestingly enough, Wesker's specials can actually be Kara'd off of his normals. So if you did like a standing fierce into the palm or the Cobra Strike, you'll get a lot more distance out of it. The Phantom Butterfly is a move that sends the enemy flying across the screen into the corner, causing a wall bounce. This usually allows Wesker to follow up by dashing in and continuing the combo for greater damage. Usually this is the one you want to throw into the end of your combo to extend the damage. And the Jaguar Dash has some very specific setups. It's usually best when used with assists, and it's not that safe if you just throw it out alone. It does, however, switch sides of the opponent, which is good, and launches you into a juggleable state afterwards, but if you're not in that perfect situation or perfect spot, it won't connect for full damage. And Wesker's 3 counters are perhaps the least used specials of all. They can be pretty useful, although they're very situational. The most useful one I've found to be is his projectile counter. This only works against certain projectiles, but if you're able to connect it without being full screen, I'm talking mid to close, you'll actually counter your opponent and throw them into a wall bounce from the opposite side. But be warned, all of Wesker's counters leave him on the opposite side of which he inputted the motion. The high counter actually leads into a state like an air combo, but the problem with this one is that it does not hit all the time. I've had many situations where I'll high counter somebody, and the frames of which Wesker's palm coming out will not hit the enemy. And perhaps the most badass looking one of them all, the low counter sends an enemy flying to the opposite side of the screen into a wall bounce that's similar to the projectile counter. Now sometimes if they flew too far, dashing won't be good enough to follow up for a combo, and I actually recommend shooting with a gunshot while they're in the mid-air, and then teleporting forward to catch them for the remaining combo. This seems to be the best way to get the most damage output. The good and bad parts about the counters are that they have a small window of activation, so the actual amount of frames that's available for the counter to be enabled is pretty slow, but at the same time, it doesn't take that long to execute. Sure, if you throw one out on accident at the worst possible moment, you're gonna get hurt, but if you just toss it out every once in a while, it's pretty hard to punish. The Phantom Dance, or as many like to call it the Maximum Wesker, is Wesker's main super. It's very easy to lead into from a combo, it's extremely fast, but it barely does any damage depending on where you are from the screen, and can be extremely random at times. A good thing to note is that wherever you activated the Maximum Wesker from is where Wesker will actually end the hyper combo. To get the most damage out of the super, it's best if you activate it from the middle of the screen. Anything near corners will result in very few hits and extremely little damage, especially at the end of a combo. But on certain characters that are larger in size, like Hulk or Sentinel, and if you have them in the middle of the screen, it hits the most and you'll get the greatest damage. And the Rhino Charge is Wesker's counter super. Probably the one you're going to see the least out of any of them. The super is good for only specific situations. Primarily for when you're getting rushed down to no end, it's the best way to tell your opponent to get off me. If it randomly lands, then you can lead into full damage, which can be quite a bit. But if it doesn't land, you can DHC safely into your next character if they have a safe hyper. Personally, I've found the wall bounce combo that leads into an aerial combo to be the most effective method of getting damage off of the counter hyper.
Yeah, having a counter hyper is really good for those situations when you're under a lot of pressure.
Pressure? What do you know about pressure? I haven't seen my family in years. Never had any birthday parties. You know my father never taught me to play baseball? And I hated Christmas. You know why? I never got nothing I asked for.
Wow, Wesker, that's some pretty deep emotional stuff. How do you deal with all that?
Well, I do have a rather luxurious gun collection.
Uh-huh, I'll bet that makes up for a lot.
Indeed. Oh, and I also have booze!
And the last super is Wesker's level 3, which is called Lost in Nightmares. Go, random missile!
Such a waste of life.
This is actually one of the most damaging level 3 hypers in the game, causing 450,000 hit points of unscaled damage. This means that if you've practiced your combos with Wesker later on, throw this at the end of a very long combo, it will result in the majority of the cast getting knocked out extremely quick. But usually you need assists to set this up at the end of a combo. If you don't have assists, you can lead into what most like to call America's favorite combo. This is simply executed by doing the low gunshot after a combo when a character is off the ground, and then activating any level of X Factor into his level 3. This isn't the best means of doing damage with X Factor at all, so we'll talk about specific X Factor combos later on.
Oh, please. Back to you.
Another quirky thing to note is that Wesker can actually cancel his low gunshot off the ground into a crossover combination hyper. This is executed simply by shooting them off the ground with a low gunshot and then pressing your 2 assist buttons at the same time. Both of your assists and Wesker will actually activate their hyper combos related to their assists for full damage. Depending on your team, sometimes this is actually more effective and more damaging than doing a level 3 hyper from Wesker. So be sure to evaluate your team and see which assists you're picking, as that will actually change the hypers. Let's say you activate and you don't have 3 meters, well, Wesker will just go ahead and go into the maximum Wesker anyway. If you're riding a magic pixel, this is probably the best thing you can do at the end of a combo to finish an enemy off. As far as DHCs go, Wesker only really has one option for DHCing into other hypers, and that's the Air Maximum Wesker. Put the Maximum Wesker behind an air combo, and they'll usually fall into your next team member's hyper. But if you're looking to take advantage of the DHC glitch, then the counter is definitely the way to go. Only certain characters can enable by combo the DHC glitch setup. Not everyone can. I'd recommend you search specific websites for information on who can cause the DHC glitch, like shoryuken.com. But in this event here, we take a look at Magneto and Dante, and if Wesker follows up with a DHC glitch, it's extremely damaging and actually ends up being a touch of death for most of the cast. Oh, Wesker, you're so cheap.
Mortals are so weak.
Dude, look at how much color is in this game.
It's like Willy Wonka threw up on the TV screen.
Hey, did you ever notice this guy's face? Doesn't he look like that guy from Con Air?
Nah, he looks more like Jack Kroger.
Jack Kroger, no! Ving Rhames!
No, piss off, Denzel.
Okay, yeah, guys, I get that a lot, okay?
Say, hey, Ving, do you want to see a really cool trick?
That'll be the day. What an idiot.
That's gonna leave a mark.
Comboing with Wesker has a wide variety of difficulty, but luckily enough, all of Wesker's combos do a great deal of damage. I want to start off by highlighting Wesker's low medium. This is his fastest and longest normal poking tool, and for the means of starting a combo, it's always better to start the combos with a medium instead of a light, as it does more damage. But this low medium also has some pretty goofy properties, and it's a little bugged. As you can see here, I press the button multiple times, and then it randomly hits on the 9th time while its hitbox is magically extended for no reason. Yeah, I don't have any clue why this happens. The reason I want to cover this normal is that the most frequent question I receive about Wesker is how do you pick them up again after that low gunshot? If you're doing the low gunshot further into your combo after a lot of hits have already been established by Wesker, you're not going to be able to pick them up. Hit stun decay will not allow for that. But if you have about 5 hits, maybe 6 or less in your combo, and you shoot them on the ground to pick them up again with the low, medium, and standing heavy, it should work. Although, I do recommend it's earlier than you think it is. Go into training mode and practice the time of which the medium comes out, because this is one of the most difficult parts of extending Wesker's combos. Another thing to note is that for this relaunch or re-pickup combo, it doesn't work on everyone. So far, I've not been able to pull it off on Jill or Iron Man. If there's anyone else in the cast that you have found that this does not work on, put it in the comments. One of the most useful things I've found for combating air throwers or characters that are coming in after a snapback is Wesker's mini ground loop. If you can see the timing here, after you're done with 2 reps, you'll bring them back down to the ground, press a standing medium and then heavy, and then lead into his wall bounce to go into your air combo. But the really simple combo that everybody should be doing is his bread and butter wall bounce. This leads into an easy 400,000 plus damage, and with assists, it's even more.
Yeah, there's some really long and extensive combos that Wesker has. You can get a lot of damage out of him if you keep continuing to the corner, especially.
Doom's friggin' thirsty. What is this, some sort of energy drink? Try some. Who the hell is this? Screw it.
Yeah, the combos get really big when you get into a corner. Like, we're talking massive damage. If you can extend them, you just leave yourself into a mix-up.
Victor, what the hell are you doing? You're drinking my sample!
What? Sample? You mean like T-virus or something?
Well, not exactly, but yes, like T-virus stuff.
So, anyway... Doom!
Victor!
What?
But then if you're feeling really comfortable, you can start going for his extended combos, which actually use the light palm into the medium palm. This is the most effective method of getting damage with Wesker without using assists initially. And another special thing to note is the distance of which it places your enemy in, and you build over 1.5 meters of super doing this combo. If you can take this example, I start with Wesker in the very left corner of the screen, and it actually places the enemy completely across the screen to the right side. So in any situation you get this combo connected, your enemy's going to be in the corner, and that's good news for you.
Yeah, the Maximum Wesker is actually a great tool for setting up DHCs afterwards, but you have to be careful or else they'll hit the ground too fast.
You're feeling well, Victor.
You, Wesker.
Oh, get in line. Did you get any of that into the trash can?
No.
Once you've got that down, it's time to style on some fools. Use this gun juggle loop to attract the attention of anybody watching, and then taunt with Wesker as soon as it's over. Deal with it. And finally, here's one of the weirdest combos Wesker has. If you're in the corner and at random times, if you have an enemy high enough, you actually begin to relaunch again after you did a Maximum Wesker. Sure, the hit stun decay makes this extremely difficult, but it's just so weird to see.
So let's put some of this stuff into practice and see how much you've learned, Wesker.
Go for broke! I will destroy you, Max! Oh, no. Hold still. Using lie tactics. What kind of a woman are you? I will defeat you, then I will spit on your grave. Would it kill you to let me win one goddamn round? Yes. Yes, yes. No, damn it!
Like popcorn! Yes, this isn't nearly salty enough!
Oh, I think I can help you out.
Damn it! This isn't fair! This is torture! Even I think this is wrong! Bring the pain! Bring the pain!
How does it taste now, Doom?
Delicious!
In the next episode of Assist Me featuring Wesker, we investigate specific X-Factor setups and learn how to combat against Wesker. And Dr. Doom and Wesker settle their differences through brutal violence. Who could possibly come out the victor of this epic battle?
Enjoy being an assist character for the rest of your pathetic life.
Find out in the finale of Marvel vs. Capcom 3 The Online Warrior Assist Me featuring Wesker. Subscribe if you like it and follow us on the Twitter.